Good afternoon and welcome, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to hear about how your city is doing. And we thank the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce for providing this opportunity to talk about our city. One of the factors that makes Simi Valley so special is the number of volunteers involved who dedicate their time and energy to make our city a great place to live and to work. Many of you are involved in multiple charitable organizations that make a huge difference in our community. We thank each of you for your valuable service to our community. We also appreciate the very effective working relationship that exists between the Chamber and the city, and from the city side, we appreciate the Chamber's input and we value our long-term relationship with the Chamber, which, by the way, goes back to the incorporation. The Chamber of Commerce has been the ambassador, the official ambassador for the city since incorporation, and it has been unbroken. It's a very proud tradition on both the Chamber's part and the city's part. As I lead into the State of the City address, one of the key issues facing local government today is the fiscal policy of the state of California. Once again, the city finds itself needing to defend itself against the fiscal void created by the state. Once again, the state has spent itself into a huge deficit. Once again, we see the state attempting to balance their budget on the backs of local government and the proverbial gun to the head of local agencies and the voting public. And while it is easy to blame the state's woe on the national recession, the reality is that the state has been in a fiscal mess for almost 20 years. Here's a bit of a history lesson. In 1993, due to their own fiscal crisis, the state of California got imaginative and created the Educational Revenue Augmentation Fund, or ERAF. Through this mechanism, the state required local agencies to make payments to the fund to offset the costs of the state share in funding mandated education costs. In 1993, the city of Simi Valley transferred just under $900,000 to this ERAF. Since that time, the city has continued to transfer money to the state of California, and cumulative to date, the city has transferred $17 million to state ERAF. That number does not include the $6.3 million the state took last year from the Simi Valley Community Development Agency and another $1.3 million due in May of this year. What is clear is the state of California cannot manage the budget and live within their means, and looks to others to solve their fiscal crisis. In 2004, we believed that there was hope in protecting the city revenues from the state when the voters passed Proposition 1A, which was to protect local government from state money grabs. However, a provision was written into Proposition 1A which allows the state, if it declares a, quote, fiscal emergency, unquote, to borrow, quote, unquote, money from local governments. Well, the state of California declared a fiscal emergency, and the state once again raided the funds of local governments created through their fiscal restraint. To fix that, quote, unquote, fiscal emergency hole, the voters last year approved Proposition 22, which specifically prohibited the state from taking local funds for the benefit of the state of California. Now, this year, the state of California continues to ignore the message of the voters, and again, it looks to new and creative ways to take money from local governments. The governor's proposal to eliminate redevelopment agencies does just that. It takes money from the redevelopment agencies to fund other programs, thus reducing the amount of funding the city needs from the state. While the proposal sells itself as returning money to local jurisdictions that can be used for public safety, in reality, the city of Simi Valley will not see any increase in revenue. In fact, it will create a budget problem for the city by our general fund having to fund additional programs and services. In addition, programs that redevelopment agency funds will be eliminated. One of them is the key thing that we're looking to fund is our Under the One Roof concept, which is a partnership between the Simi Valley Community Foundation and the City of Simi Valley, which would be housing for our nonprofits. Although there are alternatives to outright elimination of redevelopment agencies being proposed, all alternatives involve the redirection of funds from redevelopment agencies to the state. As the state legislators continue their work to balance the budget, we'll keep an ever watchful eye on the actions in Sacramento. I want to acknowledge Assembly members Smythe and Gorell and Senator Strickland, who have diligently worked on the city's behalf to preserve redevelopment agencies in California. Small business is and always will be the economic engine of the economy, and small business in Simi Valley has proven to be strong and resilient with a track record of success. While battered by the economy, Simi Valley's business community has endured. The city firmly believes that creating an environment in which small business can grow and prosper will be the key to a strong local economy. That being said, over the years, the city's processes, rules, and regulations have been perceived as being a roadblock to business growth and prosperity. And while the city is a destination for business, the city must be business friendly. Efficiency in government is a critical virtue. Transparency in government is necessary. Customer service is absolute. In August of last year, the City Council formed a permit processing ad hoc committee to dig deep into how the city does business with its citizens, the business sector, and the development industry. It is essential for the city to smooth the path for businesses to do business in the city. The committee, which includes representatives from many business sectors, has been working to look at how the city does business and is developing methods and practices to make our city more efficient, more transparent, and to meet the needs of residences and businesses alike. Recommendations will be coming from the committee to the City Council about suggested changes, and I guarantee that the City Council will make the necessary changes to make our city responsive and responsible to the needs of the public. As the city moves forward in developing an improved relationship with the business community, if any one of you encounter roadblocks to your businesses that the city can address, I encourage you to bring those to our attention. As I said, we value the relationship the city has with the Chamber of Commerce, as you are the voice of small business. Let us hear your voice. I now want to get closer to home and talk about the issues that will affect Simi Valley over the future years. As you are well aware, Waste Management has filed an application with the County of Ventura to expand the operations and footprint of the Simi Valley landfill. This application is probably one of the most important issues that the Simi Valley community has faced in the 40-plus years since incorporation. And while the Board of Supervisors will have the final say on what happens at the landfill, your city has been working on your behalf to ensure that any expansion, if approved, is conducted in a reasonable and responsible manner. Last night, the County of Ventura Planning Commission received testimony on Waste Management's application and will make their recommendation to the Board of Supervisors after the March 31st meeting. And I want to thank Supervisor Peter Floyd for making this process available directly to our citizens here at our City Hall yesterday. My hat's off to you. Thank you for that. Very much appreciated. City representatives will continue to be at the table with Waste Management to address the impacts of the proposed landfill expansion upon our community. The city will be there when the Board of Supervisors takes up the issue and will ensure that the board hears our voice. One of the city's shining moments occurred just over a month ago with the national attention focused on our celebration at the library, Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, on President Reagan's 100th birthday. Heads of state, legislators, entertainers, and the public joined to recognize the important contributions Ronald Reagan made to America. And the police department is a big supporter of the Chamber of Commerce from the chief all the way down, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you for being here, all of you. I cannot overemphasize the asset the Simi Valley community has in the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. We continue to be truly blessed with such a wonderful venue as the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, a venue that can bring to our city honored speakers such as justices of the United States Supreme Court, heads of state, cabinet members, and presidential candidates, as well as serving as a fundraising venue for many of the city's nonprofit organizations. We're truly blessed to have a library in our town. Some things that are coming up on the horizon include the future development of the Runkle Canyon Based on environmental concerns after the EIR project were approved, the city made assurances to the community that it would not issue any further permits until the State Department of Toxic Substance Control, or DTSC, cleared the location. Several months ago, the DTSC gave final clearance, and all things appeared to point to a ground breaking in the near future. Los Canyons Golf Club received approval from the city amendments to their specific plan, which the specific plan, incidentally, the plan itself was first approved in early 1990s. And the amendments will result in a transformation of one of the golf courses into an exclusive gated residential community. And while it's far from complete and many more approvals are needed before the project can move forward, the specific plan changes are the first step in the eventual transition of the golf club. In addition, the Simi Valley Town Center is under new ownership, and as a result of the change of ownership, the new owners have initiated discussions with the city how to best transform the shopping venue into the proud location it was when it first opened in 2005. Our city's ability to weather the economic storms comes from having a long record of maintaining sound fiscal policies. Since fiscal year 2006-07, the city has made tough decisions and cut over $11.4 million from the city budget. We feel very fortunate that the past city councils have remained firm in their conservative approach to budgeting and fiscal responsibilities. These actions have put the city in a very strong financial position. Today, sales tax revenues seem to be moving away from the downward trend in past years. In fact, the latest tax numbers received just this week indicate that the 2010 holiday season was a good one. Sales tax collections for the city were up 6.5% in the months of October, November, and December 2010. Combined with a year-over-year increase in sales tax receipts for July through September, the city's sales tax collections for this fiscal year are ahead of projections. The city still needs to make some tough choices this next fiscal year in order to provide the level of service our residents and businesses have come to deservedly expect. Just this past week, the city council appointed a 13-member Citizens Fiscal Projection Advisory Committee to ensure in-depth input from our citizens on your expenditure priorities in these tough economic times. The Chamber will have a strong voice in this committee with the selection of Chamber Chair Pat Abrazizi as your business representative on this important grassroots committee. I promise you on behalf of your entire City Council that your city will continue to remain fiscally sound. The City Council staff welcomes the opportunity to be with you here today to share information on the state of the city. We will talk about what has occurred in your local government in the past year. We will talk about items of interest and impact to the business community, as well as what lies ahead for Simi Valley in the coming year. With these opening comments, let's go to the nuts and bolts of our state of the city. The city's executive management team will present an overview of each department's operation. And first up is Jim Bertie, the Director of Administrative Services. Thank you.